Good morning, students. This is my revision lecture for chapter number 3, Journey to the End of the Earth, written by Tishani Doshi for class 12th, subject English, from your supplementary book Vistas. Children, this chapter was taught in different lectures before, and today I am taking revision of this chapter again so that you can understand it in a better manner, and then you will be able to solve the revision assignment given at the end of this lecture. So let's begin with the recapitulation of the chapter, Journey to the End of the Earth. This chapter is a travelogue. In this chapter, Tishani Doshi gives us an account of her journey to the coldest, driest and windiest continent in the world, that is Antarctica. In this, actually, the narrator gives us an account of her journey under the program Students on Ice, which was led by Geoff Green. And the aim of this program was to introduce the high school students with the present, past, and future of the world. This program provides the students an ample opportunity to understand how global temperature can be a big threat to human existence. It inculcates a new understanding in them. Geoff Green thinks that the high school students are the future policy makers. Therefore, he took the students on this Students on Ice program in order to make them aware about the present, past, and future of the world and the changes which are occurring and are the biggest cause of the ruin of this world. The author Tishani Doshi started her journey in a Russian research vessel which was named Akademik Shukalsky, and this was bound for Antarctica. Her journey began 13.09 degrees north of the equator in Madras, and she travelled over 100 hours in combination of car, aeroplane and ship before she set foot on the Antarctic continent. The main purpose of this journey was to take the children to the Antarctic continent in order to introduce them to the past, present and future of the world. 650 million years ago, a giant southern supercontinent Gondwana did indeed exist. They got to know it was centered around present-day Antarctica, and that was the best place to know about the past, present and future of this world. She wondered how there could have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. Geological phenomena help us to know about the history of humankind. 650 million years ago, this giant southern supercontinent Gondwana did exist, and the climate was much warmer then, and there were a variety of flora and fauna. Humans had not arrived on the global scene yet. Gondwana thrived for 500 million years. Then came the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of mammals began. At that time, the landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe much as we know it today. The author stayed there for 2 weeks and got to know it is a place which stores 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes. It has no trees, billboards or buildings. The author went there to study ozone and carbon, their evolution and extinction. And the purpose was to show the high school students that the real condition of this earth is very poor, and the future nation builders need to protect the earth before it is totally ruined. And there it was taught that Antarctica has a simple ecosystem and lacks of biodiversity. It is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. Repercussions means changes. Even scientists warn that a future depletion of the ozone layer will affect the lives of the sea animals and birds of the region. It will also affect the global carbon cycle. Therefore, the purpose of his visit was to take these children and introduce them with the present condition of the earth so that they can take necessary steps to protect it to be enjoyed by the future generation. All the 52 persons on board put on breathable waterproof clothing and sunglasses. They climbed down the gangplank and walked on the ocean. They were walking on a meter-thick ice pack. Under the ice pack, there was 180 meters of living, breathing salt water. Seals were enjoying themselves in the sun and ice. The narrator was wondering about the beauty of the place, and she wished that it would become a warm place again as it used to be millions of years ago. If it happens, the results can be catastrophic. Human civilizations have been around for a paltry, means very small, 12,000 years, barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In that short amount of time, we have managed to create quite a ruckus, etching our dominance over nature with our villages, towns, cities, and in fact megacities. The rapid increase of human populations has left us battling with other species for limited resources, and the unmitigated burning of fossil fuel has now created a blanket of carbon dioxide around the world, which is slowly but surely increasing the average global temperature. This climatic change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. It raises many questions for humans to think over, to have debate over. Questions like, will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? Will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? Will it be the end of the world as we know it? The answers may be yes, maybe not. Either way, Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate, not just because it is the only place in the world which has never sustained a human population and therefore remains relatively pristine in this respect, but more importantly, because it holds in its ice cores 500,000 years old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. If we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present, and future, then Antarctica is the place to go. On this program, the author was working with on Chokalski that aims to do exactly by taking these high school students to the end of the world and providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. It's been in operation for 6 years now, headed by Canadian Geoff Green, who got retired of karting celebrities and retired rich curiosity seekers who could only give back in a limited way. With students on ice, he offers the future generation of policy makers a life-changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act. The reason the program has been so successful is because it's impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not be affected by it. It's easy to be blase about polar ice caps melting while sitting in the comfort zone of our respective latitude and longitude, but when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is really very, very fast. And Antarctica, because of her simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big results. Therefore, the author wants these young children to understand the present condition of our planet where the life is possible. And she tries her best to inculcate a new understanding among these future policy makers so that these children must take the responsibility on their shoulders to protect this planet before it is entirely ruined. And she motivates the children to keep a thought in their mind that always utilize the resources. By keeping this thought in your mind that we have not got this land from our forefathers to enjoy it to the most. This is not an inherited land or the inherited resources, but we have borrowed it from future generation to give them back as we have already got it from our own forefathers. So with this thought, the author wants these children to be motivated to cure or to take all possible steps to cure this earth, so that this must be a heaven for the future generation. We must limit the use of resources so that our future generation must not curse us for wasting all the resources which are present on this land. Therefore, it is our duty to protect or to keep them safe for the better use of our future generation. This is the biggest asset that we can hand over to our future generation to enjoy their life as we are enjoying it on this planet Earth. So, Tishani Doshi ends this journey to the end of the earth by motivating the students who are the future policy makers, by motivating them that it is your planet and it is your foremost responsibility to protect it properly, not only for your survival but to make the survival possible for all other species on this earth and for your own future generation. So children, this is the complete revision lecture for chapter number 3, Journey to the End of the Earth, from your supplementary reader Vistas. Now let's proceed to the revision assignment. As children, this chapter had already been taught and today I have made you revise this chapter again. So you will be capable enough to solve this revision assignment given on this screen today. You have 6 questions to answer in 30 to 40 words each, and then there is one long answer type question to be answered in 120 to 150 words. So children, I don't think so that it will be tough for you to answer any one of these questions, as you have already solved the textual exercise of this chapter and today you have recapitulated again what was taught earlier. So all the best, have a nice day. Start solving this revision assignment on the basis of your understanding in your Fair English notebook. Thank you. This is the end of revision lecture.